All right, what's up, guys? Happy Sunday. Before we jump in, pause the video and comment down below which way do you think the market is going this week? Higher, lower, or maybe a little bit of both and nowhere. So comment down below and we'll jump in here. So, the biggest moves in the market tend to unfold when a big squeeze fires. And a big squeeze could be a monthly, a weekly, a 3-day, or a daily time frame. So on the indices here, the small caps, the QQQ, the Dow Jones, and the SPX, they've all got a 3-day squeeze. Now, the only thing about it, if we check the big three score here on the daily time frame, remember the best possible score for the bulls is 12. Positive 12 for the bulls and negative 12 for the bears. So the small caps have a 3 out of 12. The QQQ has a 1 out of 12. The Dow has a negative 1, and the SPX has a positive 3. So I think for now at least, taking that 3-day squeeze and calling for either a big push higher or a big push lower could be a little bit premature. And you know what they say about being premature? Both parties leave a little bit upset. So the name of the game this week, patience and lower time frames. We've got big 3-day squeezes. Eventually they'll fire. When they fire, it's going to kick off a pretty big move. We can get our clarity from our lower time frames. What are the signals doing on the 15-minute, the 30-minute, the 1 hour, the 4 hour, and eventually looking for improvements here off that daily time frame. So for the S&Ps, let's work from the top down. And the monthly chart is still perfect. Structure is bullish. We have a monthly buy signal, and we got a perfect 12. If we drop down to the weekly time frame, so far, really good hold of that 21 EMA. In the context of a weekly uptrend, that's a really important level of support. And so far, they're doing a good job of keeping the ship afloat. Structure is bullish. We've got our weekly buy signal, and we have a 10 out of 12. So the monthly chart and the weekly chart, they remain bullish, and then dropping down to the daily time frame, this is where things are a bit more neutral. Structure is neutral, the big three signals are neutral, and we got a big three score of 3 out of 12. 3 out of 12 doesn't scream get short, doesn't scream get long, it just screams be patient. With that being said, they did make some progress last week, they being the bulls. The key this week, can they keep and continue to build on that progress? They've got it back above the daily 21. The signals have shifted from bearish to neutral. And I think a really important level here, call it an over-under level, 51.30. If the bulls can get it and keep it above that 51.30, in my opinion at that point, the market is shaping up for a push higher. If they can't get it back above that 51.30, they could spank it, and we could head right back down towards the recent lows. 51.30, that lines up with our daily 50 SMA, and it also lines up with our 200 SMA here on the hourly chart. I think tomorrow, Tuesday, Wednesday, they can afford a bit of a dip. That dip has to hold the hourly 21. The first push into the hourly 200, not that crazy to think we get a little bit of a dip. If we break structure from there, they might lose all the progress. So the key moving forward, pretty simple. Can the bulls take back ownership on the indicator of all of our lower time frames? Right now we have a 15-minute, 30-minute, 1 hour, and a 2 hour buy signal. If they can take back the 4 hour, if they can take back the daily, then I think a better chance. The 3-day squeeze here wants to fire long. If the 3-day squeeze fires long, the S&Ps should see a brand new all-time high, with a squeeze target of about 5,300 and change. Moving on to the Qs, everybody's favorite. And for the monthly chart, we have a 12 out of 12, with a buy signal and good structure. Dropping down to the weekly, it's a little bit more neutral. we've got the momentum break. Big 3's gone from bullish to neutral. But with a big 3 score of 7, things do lean a little bit bullish. And so far, they're doing a pretty good job of trying to keep price above that weekly 21. Again, a really important level of support. And then dropping down to the daily time frame. And very much like the S&Ps, it's neutral. Structure label is blue. The big 3 label is blue. With a big 3 score of 1. Doesn't scream get long. Doesn't scream get short. Screams be patient. Key support, that daily 21 EMA. Key resistance, that daily 50. Above that daily 50, the bulls have the edge. Below that daily 21, and the bears have the edge. If we take that 3-day squeeze that's setting up, it leans a little bit bullish with a big 3 score of 7. If the bulls can take back the 4-hour and the daily, get ourselves a fresh 4-hour and a daily buy signal, then the odds increase. That 3-day squeeze fires to the upside. If that 3-day squeeze fires to the upside, I've got a target of about 460. So patience for the week ahead. The bulls made a little progress last week. The key this week, can they keep that progress and build on it? And now for the big boys, the money makers, as I call them. A few good and a few bad. The bad would be SMCI, Meta, Netflix, and Microsoft. They've got a daily big 3 score of -6. The good would be Amazon, Nvidia, and Google. They've got big 3 scores of 10, 12, and 7. So for Amazon here, and you can see a theme, right? SPX, QQQ, Dow Jones, IWM, and then Amazon, Microsoft, Nvidia, SMCI, Meta, Netflix, and yeah, that's it. They've all got a 3-day squeeze. So you got to keep an eye on those. Again, when they fire, that should trigger a pretty big move. Whether that be a move lower or a move to the upside. So for Amazon here, the big's on. I bought some calls. I bought some calls and some call debit spreads last week, and I took my entry here in that 2-hour squeeze. Pretty clean setup. 2-hour squeeze, good structure, 2-hour buy signal. So I've got some call debit spreads here, looking for a push towards 190. At the moment, we have a 5-minute, 15-minute, a daily, a 2-day, and again, a 3-day squeeze. So this week, if they can fire that daily squeeze, I mean, the daily squeeze calls for a push towards 197. I'm looking for a $1.90. So, in the context of some bigger time frame squeezes, I don't think another $3.50 to $4 is asking all that much. It'll come down to the QQQ. The QQQ craps the bed. Amazon probably going to crap the bed as well. But if the bulls can keep the party going this week, I like Amazon towards 190. And then Google here. Google's been a beast. Buy signals on the weekly, the daily, the 4-hour, the 30, the 15, and the 5. And last week, we had a little pullback here to the daily 8 EMA. If they can keep it above that 8 EMA, then I'm dropping down to my 2-hour and my 1-hour. And I'm going to keep an eye on the squeezes here. 1-hour squeeze looks pretty good. Structure is bullish. We've got the slingshot signal and a big 3 score at 10. If they can fire that to the upside, that should be good for a push back towards 170-ish. So I'm going to take a look at that 1-hour squeeze tomorrow. And then for Nvidia here, the king of the semiconductors, we have a 5-minute, a daily, a 2-day, and a 3-day squeeze. Key support here, the daily 50. You could also call it the daily 21. I'm going to call it the daily 50. If they can keep it above that daily 50, they might be setting up here for a breakout above that 900 level. As far as that 5-minute squeeze goes, it's pretty neutral. Big 3 score of 1, no buy signal. Structure label is blue. What I would like to see tomorrow, if they can print a 5-minute buy signal, inside that 5-minute squeeze, that might make for a nice entry in the 900 calls above that daily 50. So for the big boys, I'm watching Nvidia, I'm watching Google, and I am long Amazon. Now for the sectors here, jumping to the sectors. The worst would be, you got Bitcoin with a -4, real estate with a -5, transports -6, XLB -3, and healthcare a -5. The strongest would be utilities and XLP. The perfect 12. So XLP here. Right, great structure, perfect signals, perfect score. And I think for tomorrow, keep an eye here on that 4-hour squeeze. If you look throughout the XLP sector, there's some pretty good looking setups. If they can take the 4-hour squeeze here on XLP, fire that puppy to the upside, that should be good for the XLP stocks. And you could also just trade the XLP. One name I do like here in the group would be Costco. Big 3 score of 9, so pretty bullish. We've got the slingshot squeeze setting up. If they can keep it above that daily 50, I think the odds favor they take that daily squeeze with that fresh cross on the momentum histogram, fire that thing to the upside, which could kick off a push up here towards 760. So I'm liking Costco. And then for the utilities, very, very strong stuff here. Big 3 buy signal on the weekly, the daily, the 4-hour, the 2-hour, the 1-hour, the 30, and the 5. We got a little 5-minute squeeze action into tomorrow. And for the XLP stocks here, I like a few of them. On Dominion, this grades out pretty good, and we have a 4-hour and a 2-day squeeze. 4-hour squeeze is an A+ setup, and the 2-day squeeze, not quite A+. If they can break it above that 200, at that point it'll be A+. I also like AEP, strong daily chart, and we got a 3-day squeeze setting up here. Same thing, not quite A+. If they can break it above that 3-day 200, then she'll be A+. And then one more here from XLP. Let's go with DUK. Now the only trouble here, the only troublesome thing about DUK, I believe they have earnings in a few weeks. Earnings can always put a damper on a good setup, but this is a good setup. Structure's bullish. We got buy signals on every time frame. You gotta love that. And a squeeze on the 5-minute, the 1-hour, the 2-hour, the 4-hour, and the weekly. Let's go check out the weekly. And the weekly chart is an A+ setup. Check out the 4-hour. 4-hour squeeze is A+. The 2-hour, the do-si-do, 2 hours A+. The 1-hour, A+. And the 5-minute, also A+. So when exactly is earnings? Let me change this real quick, and we shall find out. Duke earnings on the 6th, so the 7th rather. So Tuesday. That kind of sucks. If earnings were a week or maybe 2 or 3 weeks away, then I think you take a shot. With earnings on Tuesday, it's a great setup. But I think you hold off, and with any luck, maybe after earnings it's flat, you find yourself a good entry, and you take that multi-squeeze setup for a bit of a push higher. Alrighty guys, so again, comment down below. Which way do you think the market is going this week? And the theme moving forward is 3-day squeezes in the big boys, 3-day squeezes in the sectors, and as always, most importantly, 3-day squeezes setting up in the indices. The bulls made progress last week, If they can keep that progress and make a little bit more, the odds will begin to increase. They take those 3-day squeezes, they fire them to the upside, and we get ourselves a good push going. Just remember, the squeeze cuts both ways. If they lose all the progress and they drop the ball, the odds could begin to favor the 3-day squeezes, might want to break short. So keep on taking it day by day. Do not be premature, and I'll talk to y'all in the next video. Thank you for watching. See you tomorrow morning at 7:45 a.m. Central here on the channel for pre-market prep, and I'll talk to you then. Adios.